What's up, my good people? Welcome to the CJ Moneyway Show. Today, I have the pleasure to have a young lady, a businesswoman, a business owner, entrepreneur, motivational speaker, and let's not forget, an Army veteran. How you doing today, Zorina?
Hi, I'm doing wonderful, CJ. And thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. I know we talked before we came on, but that's just between us. But tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your background.
Hello, everyone. Like you mentioned before, I am a Army veteran. I'm also a retiree. I completed 30 plus years of serving veterans with the Department of Veterans Affairs. I am a caregiver. I take care of my brother that had two brain strokes. And then my second career is a small business entrepreneur. I created two card games that are currently at Walmart for kids. I'm also completing my first children's book, Dancing Teardrop. I hope to release that soon. I do volunteer work continuously, helping our veterans to get the benefits that they rightly deserve at the Department of Veterans Affairs. And the rest of it is just living my retired life like I want to.
Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, Serena, as you was talking about your card game, can you explain to us a little bit, about the card games, what they entail, and let's not forget this one card game or both on at Walmart.
Yes.
That's a big deal. But can you explain to us a little bit about these games?
Yes, the intentions of the game is, for example, we know today parents are really busy trying to earn a living. We also know that after COVID, a lot of our kids, their social skills have declined. And one of the things, the benefits about my game, if you couple that together of taking some time to connect with your children as well as help work on their social skills because they're interacting with you or your parent, grandparents, or their peers, this is a quick, fun, interactive game. And what makes this game is so unique is that you do not keep your entire hand the whole time. The hands are
Mm.
exchanged throughout the game. It is a simple chance style game, meaning that you match in colors, but there's cards that are used to eliminate players because the objective, listen up, the objective of this game is to be the last player holding a card. And
Mm.
so there are cards in the game, give and take, that will help eliminate the cards in the player's hand as well as the matching piece. You do have wild cards that allow you to stay in the game in case your last card is out of play. You get to come back into the game with that card. Someone can bring you back into the game with the give card. And but the shifting part, like I said earlier, is the interactive part, is that there's cards that say left and right where everyone who has a card in their hand will shift their cards to the left and right. And I think the part of the game is interesting for kids because they're constantly moving. And because kids are used to social media and digital games, video games, they need a lot of stimulation. And so that is what my card game, Zomatic Shift, does with the stimulation of not only matching and giving and shifting the cards. You want to keep them engaged throughout the game and also to encourage them to play non-digital games for balance. And that's what I'm hoping that parents can take away in trying my game, is to teach their kids their social skills, because if your child is competitive, they're going to get angry about this game because the average play time could be 4 minutes. It goes really fast once you learn the rules. And I have to tell you, CJ, with my own granddaughter, we learned through our game that she had problems emotional regulation. For those who don't know
Mm.
what that means, she couldn't regulate her emotions. She would get so angry, start throwing cards everywhere because she was losing. But I am happy to report that after playing the game and finding it fun and interacting with her family, she said, one, grandma, it creates memories with my parents. And two, I learned how to control my emotions. So now she doesn't get upset when she loses, CJ.
That's cool. Hey, so let me ask you, Zorina, what's the age range for this game?
Okay. So Zomatic Shift is the first game, and actually the game came to me in a dream, and I just put it together and followed
Mm.
the pattern that came to me. That's the original one. That is for age 11 to adults. But then I was doing a vending event, and a little girl came over. She tried to play, but she was too young. And so I actually prayed. I said, God, how can I modify the game for little kids to play and still have that interaction? And that's
Mhm.
pass and play, and that's for kids 4 to 10. They get the same dynamic of the shifting and matching with the original one. And also, I found out that with the pass and play, CJ, kids that are on the spectrum with autism, they can play the game as well. You may have to modify it a little bit, but I found out when testing the game at school that those children also like the game pass and play. So that way, all kids have an opportunity to have some fun connecting with parents and friends.
That's cool. Something that you're creating that's educational and that can actually help, kids and, as you say, parents in the long run. Not too many games or things out there on the market that's doing that right now. So I wish you good success in that. Um, so could you give us a little insight into the children's book that you're releasing?
Oh, yes. I want to tell you, most of us don't stretch ourselves. What I mean by that, challenge to go beyond what you think you can do, your capacity. We all know our bandwidth. And so once I retired, and my brother had his stroke in 2019, and so right before COVID. And so that whole 20 year, I was just always about my brother. And so one day I decided I need something for me. And I've always been a little intimidated with writing, although I've written scripts and training videos. I wanted to write something for kids. And so
Mhm.
I stretched myself. I said, I am going to write a children's book. And so I started and I partnered with my granddaughter, Meadow. I said, Meadow, give me a title of a book. She said, okay, Gigi. So she gave me Dancing Teardrops. And so my whole story centered around that title, and
Mm.
it's about a grandmother and her granddaughter. Her granddaughter was going to have a tea party, but it had a thunderstorm, so if the tea party ended up being ruined. However, her grandmother found a way to save the day, which most grandparents do. We know how to
Yeah.
save the day. And so she ended up being outside with her grandmother, dancing in the rain amongst the raindrops. And as she realized that her tea party is ruined, her grandmother looks at her and tells her, "You have dancing teardrops." And she thought that was so delightful. So she started dancing even more and tells her grandmother, "You have dancing teardrops too." And so they spend time dancing and just enjoying each other. And then they go back into the house, and then she wishes her, she had a doll, Kylie and Teddy Bear, that were invited to her tea party. So she tells them by saying, next time you will have dancing teardrops too. So it's about bonding with family, it's about resilience, and it's about capitalizing on those special moments that even though something disappointing, you still can capitalize and turn, as they say, lemons into lemonades. And so it's just a delightful story of a child bonding with her grandmother.
Hey, I like it as a child story, but that too, just the concept that you just spoke of, that's everyday life, like taking a bad
Yeah.
situation and dancing to drop. So when can we be expect this book to be released?
Well, we just finished with the illustration. They're working on my cover. I'm gonna have to be honest with you too. I don't know anything about the book publishing process because I had no idea that this book would be published. I just wrote it as a stretch assignment. I happened
uh
to meet an editor, And we were talking. I said, "Oh yeah, I wrote a book." And she said, "Really? Let me see it." And so I shared it with her, and she just thought the story was so delightful that she said, "You know what? You really need to get this book published." And so
Mm-hmm.
I was able to find someone to illustrate and put it together. And so I'm thinking maybe close to the fall that I want to release it, because
Mm-hmm.
I think I need to get it copyright or something.
Yeah.
um, and so I'm still like, I am just, when you do something that stretches yourself and you see that work come to fruition, you guys, um, just step out there. Just step out there, give it a try. And that is what I did. And so when I look back and think of the games, and I look at the children's book, and even look at the caregiving, how I saved my brother's life, turn
Mm-hmm.
things around where he's independently and helping veterans to get the benefits that they deserve. Sometimes we marginalize ourselves, but we have to give ourselves some grace and cheer ourselves on, because there's so many things that we can do in life, CJ, that we don't do. And I'm not
Yeah.
ashamed to tell you guys, I'm 61. These things are happening in the later stage of my life, which means what? We're never too old to pursue new things and discover our full bandwidth. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a wonderful experience.
Hey, uh, again, wish you great success in that. The way that you tell a story about the book, it's exciting, and so I'm thinking about the lady that you told the book. Say, "Oh, you need to get that published," because you had me sitting here thinking like, "Oh, I want to read that book myself." So, I can't wait for it to come out. So, Zarina, take us back to 2019 and share some of the challenges that you faced at that time.
Oh, wow. When my brother had the stroke, it was very devastating. And you know how siblings, you don't get along with siblings, but this is the
Mhm.
brother that I bump heads with. And I'm still shocked today that God has chosen me to be his caregiver. But it was a very scary experience, because it happened the day after Christmas. He and
Mm,
I had Christmas dinner, and I went over there, and we had all the good fixings and everything. And my brother has hypertension, and he
mhm,
had a stroke in 2018 on one, I think it was on his right side of the brain. So on 2019 he had the stroke on his left side of the brain. And so we were sitting there watching television, and I noticed he was just looking different. And then brushed it off and everything. And then actually, CJ, maybe I think it was like the end of the 26th, that afternoon, his friend called me and said, "Your brother's not responding. He told me to call you." Well, we get to the hospital. My brother's blood pressure was 200 and something.
mm,
And because he didn't go to the hospital right away, he lost that window. The damage was done. So I don't have a health background, but I want to tell you, those who have hypertension, when you feel funny and your blood pressure is going to go to the hospital immediately, because there's only a short window that they can give you medication to stop the damage of your
mm,
stroke. And so my brother struggled the rest of the month. He was like out of, he couldn't speak. His cognitive skills were just gone. And even today, he can speak better, but the cognitive damage is there. I have to help him with his medication. I have to help him pay his bills, make his appointments. And so, ending the 2019 with that struggle of having to figure out, how am I going to help this man regain his life, because my brother completely forgot everything at that moment. His brain, I guess it was just damaged to a certain degree with all the inflammation and everything associated with the stroke. So I literally had to rebuild his life. And although we're forward now to 24, I am proud to announce my brother is going on his third year of living independently. he still rely on me to help him pay his bills, take him to the doctor's office and things like that. But even though it disrupted my life, CJ, because I had plans when I retired in 20, I was going to St. Thomas of Puerto Rico for 6 months and just, but when I look at my brother and see how happy he is in living independently, and people tell me all the time, "You're such a good sister," and I'm gonna be honest, I don't see myself being a good sister. I'm not doing this because I'm his sister. I'm doing this because it was the right thing to do. My
Mhm.
brother didn't have a wife. My brother never had children. And I knew that if I were to place him in some type of assisted living or any place like that, and he didn't need that, I might as well say I'm putting him to death. And I love my brother, and I believe in the miracles that God can happen. So God and I work together. But I have to tell you, I almost hurt myself because I accidentally took one of his pills.
Mhm.
Um, because I didn't know anything about caregiving. I would just get the medicine and I got distracted, put it in my pocket, and forgot I also put my vitamin in there. And one of his pills I didn't give to him, but I took it and it almost took me out of here. And
Mhm.
so I tell caregivers this, and take care of yourself first. I was
Mhm.
so focused on taking care of him. You got to take care of yourself first in order to be there for them. And so it's been a roller coaster. God has blessed me to get this far. He's happy. I'm happy. I have
Dang.
nothing to say.